Hello everyone, this is Dawn over at Plot Chronicles, and today it's January 15th. You guys know I video ahead, and I like to talk to you about my two favorite books so far for January of 2025. Let's get started and talk about it. I hope you guys don't mind, but whenever I think books, I think jammies and getting comfortable. Reading is the one thing that really relaxes me, and since I work quite a bit, during my off time, I enjoy listening to audiobooks and enjoy reading. So I'm going to briefly share with you my two favorite books so far for the month. I do want to mention this, and I want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys force yourself to finish books that you're not really enjoying? Do you try to muddle through and finish them? I don't do that. Now I try to at least give them some time. And if I call DNF it, do not finish it, sometimes 6 months later I might go back and try it again. And I have done that on just a few books. But so far in January, I DNF did not finish 3 books. Why, may you ask? 2 of them were confusing and one was just really boring without a whole lot of plot. So I kind of skimmed that one, and then the other 2 I just simply didn't finish. So I want to ask you guys that question. Now, I'm going to get into the 2 books that I really liked. I'm going to tell you these authors because if you haven't read anything by them, I think you will, and I'll definitely put it in the description below. The first is a thriller. But what I like is this particular author's thrillers are what I would call pretty family friendly. And I'm not saying I never read books that don't have a bad word in it or something, but I tend to like books that not every other word is a swear word, okay? Now the author is Jenifer, but it's with one N. Jenifer, Jenifer, Ruff, R-U-F-F. I'm kind of wondering why more people aren't talking about this particular author. I've got actually a couple authors that I'm wondering that about. But she wrote a book recently, and it's one of my favorites. I've read 3 of her books. I've loved 2. The other one I thought was okay. Is called The Atonement Murders, and it's basically her series where she's Special Agent Victoria Heslin. And what's happening, and I won't give anything away, okay, but there's crimes scattered along in different areas, okay, and she's trying to put a connection. There are people that are being unalived, and when they're being unalived, she can tell by a note that's by them is that they're being punished for something. So there's a connection between all these people that are being unalived, some men, some women, and she's got to find out who is doing it, and so she's kind of racing against the clock. What I like is there's so many twists and turns. It definitely keeps your interest. You cannot put the book down. Like if you have to put it down to go do a responsibility, you want to get back to the book as soon as possible. Now I listened to this on audio because that's what my Libby app had. Libby is an app that I use from our local library. So I did listen to it, but it definitely had a lot of twists and turns. What I like about this author and about this book is the character development is good like always. And something else that I like is she'll go back like one of the characters especially, she would go back like 10 years ago. And so you knew why the characters were the way they were because they looked at 10 years in the past. So you got to see the progression of how they were then and how they got to where they are now. I love when they do that in books, but I think this is really good. You're going to kind of wonder, who's punishing these people? Why are these crimes, being committed? And also, does anyone survive? Who is guilty of this? You may be very surprised. I was surprised at who was committing the crimes, I will say that. But I'm going to put the book below. Let me know if you've read any of her books. Her name is Jenifer Ruff. I think you'd enjoy her, but basically it is a series, and I've read, the first one I read was where she was, not just her, but a group of people. They had a plane crash and they were stranded. And my husband even enjoyed that story, so I think you'd like it. The next one is called The Things We Love by Kristin. Love this author. She writes a lot of good historical fiction. This book is about a woman named Angie. Her and her husband have tried to conceive, and it's just been a strain on the relationship. They end up divorcing. She moves back to her hometown to help with the restaurant. Fabulous family, wonderful support, great character development. You love the family. Anyway, she meets a troubled girl, and you find out what can she do about this troubled girl. What I liked about this book especially was the ending. The ending was absolutely fabulous. So these are two of my favorite books so far. Let me ask you a question. What's one of your favorite books that you've read so far in January? I want to hear from you in the comments below. That's all I have to say for now. I love you, appreciate you, and I hope to see you on our next video. Bye-bye.